Imagine this. Your sister throws you a birthday party, invites your whole family, your coworkers, even people who travel to be there. Sounds thoughtful, except for one detail. You told her very clearly you didn't want a party, and she ignored you. But the real problem isn't the party. The real problem is the person she invited, your ex, the one you specifically asked everyone not to contact. And when you decide not to show up, your entire family says you're the one who ruined everything. So here's the real question. Did she cross a boundary or did you overreact? Because the psychology behind this situation is a lot deeper than it looks. When you look closely at what happened here, you can see 5 psychological mechanisms happening at the same time. And they're extremely common in family dynamics. But to understand them, we have to start with the story. Let's call our main character Ava. Ava has never liked big celebrations. She doesn't hate birthdays, she just prefers something simple. A quiet dinner, maybe a movie, a couple close friends, and everyone in her life knows this, especially her sister. Let's call her Maya. Now, Maya is the exact opposite personality. She loves big gestures, decorations, themes, rooms full of people. About 2 weeks before Ava's birthday, Maya starts acting a little strange. She keeps asking the same question. Are you free this Saturday? But whenever Ava asks why, Maya avoids answering. Eventually, Ava even says directly, I really don't want a party. Maya laughs, calls her no fun, and drops the conversation. But the night before Ava's birthday, something unexpected happens. A mutual friend accidentally reveals something. She mentions what she plans to wear to the party. That's how Ava finds out. Maya has organized a full birthday party, family invited, co-workers invited, hosted at their parents' house. But that's not even the worst part, because Maya also invited someone else, Ava's ex. The relationship had ended only 2 months earlier. It wasn't toxic, there was no betrayal, but it was painful. And Ava had made one boundary extremely clear. She didn't want contact, she needed space. Maya knew that. So Ava calls her, and Maya doesn't deny anything. In fact, she explains the plan. She thought the party would be the perfect moment for Ava and her ex to talk things out. She hoped they might reconcile, and then she says something that becomes very important later. She tells Ava, one day you'll thank me for this. Ava gets angry. She tells Maya she had no right to put her in that situation, especially on her birthday, especially after she had already said no. Maya's response? You're being dramatic. You're ungrateful. People already traveled for this. So on the morning of her birthday, Ava turns off her phone. She tells only her best friend where she is. They have lunch, take a walk. She says it was actually one of the most peaceful birthdays she's had in years. But that evening, when she turns her phone back on, everything explodes. Messages everywhere. Her sister is furious. Some relatives say they're disappointed. A few say Ava embarrassed Maya by not showing up. And now Maya wants Ava to apologize. Now pause for a moment, because this is where people start to feel conflicted. Maybe Maya meant well. Maybe Ava should have just shown up for a little while. Maybe avoiding the whole thing made it worse. If you're feeling that uncertainty right now, that's actually part of the psychology of what happened here. So let's break it down. Mechanism 1, boundary violation. The first mechanism is simple but important. A boundary mistaken for a preference. People often think boundaries are just personal preferences, but psychologically, boundaries are protection systems. Ava communicated 2 things very clearly: no party and no contact with her ex. Those weren't lifestyle choices, they were emotional protection. When someone ignores a boundary like that, the brain doesn't interpret it as care. It interprets it as a loss of control over your own life. And that's why Ava's reaction wasn't an overreaction, it was a defensive response. Mechanism 2, the emotional trap. The second mechanism is what psychologists call an emotional trap. Maya created a situation where every possible choice would hurt Ava. If she went to the party, she would have to face her ex before she was ready. If she didn't go, she would disappoint everyone who showed up. Both options come with guilt. And that's exactly how emotional traps work. They create situations where any decision looks wrong. Mechanism 3, pseudo-care. The third mechanism is more subtle. Pseudo-care. Maya probably believed she was helping, but what she was actually doing is something psychologists call paternalistic helping. Helping someone by overriding their autonomy. The hidden message becomes, I know what's best for you better than you do. And that's exactly what Maya meant when she said, one day you'll thank me. Care without consent. Mechanism 4. Emotional invalidation. When Ava expressed anger, Maya responded with, you're being dramatic. You're ungrateful. That's emotional invalidation. Instead of addressing the actual problem, the conversation shifts. Now, the issue isn't the boundary violation. The issue becomes whether Ava is overreacting. And suddenly, the person who was hurt has to defend their feelings. Mechanism 5. Responsibility reversal. By the end of the story, something remarkable happens. The narrative flips. Ava becomes the person who ruined the party. But look carefully at what she actually did. She didn't organize the party. She didn't invite anyone. She didn't create the situation. She simply refused to walk into it. In psychology, this is called responsibility reversal. The person affected by the problem becomes framed as the cause of the problem. The most important question. And yet, even after
Maybe I
all
was
of this,
actually the one who did
Ava still
something wrong.
wonders. Maybe I was actually the one who did something wrong. That reaction is extremely human. When multiple people around us repeat the same version of a story, our brain starts to doubt its own experience. Social belonging is powerful. Being cast outside the group narrative feels painful. So the mind tries to resolve the conflict, sometimes by assuming, maybe I'm the problem. That's why Ava posting the story online actually makes sense. She needed an outside perspective, someone not already inside that social bubble. The core issue in this story is not that Ava skipped the party. The core issue is that her boundaries were ignored, and then she was blamed for protecting herself. She didn't yell, she didn't create a scene. She simply chose not to walk into a situation she had already asked to avoid. From a psychological perspective, that isn't selfishness, it's self-preservation. Now I'm curious what you think. Which mechanism stood out the most? The emotional trap, pseudo-care, or responsibility reversal? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy psychological breakdowns like this one, consider subscribing, because sometimes the most interesting psychology happens in everyday stories.